Welcome to Tehachapi, the City of Tehachapi's podcast, where we share conversations with local leaders, business owners, and community members. Don't miss an episode. Be sure to follow and subscribe to learn something new and discover ways to get involved in our community. It's Tehachapi time. Key Budge, Greg Garrett today. Greg, how are you doing?
Doing great, Key.
It's been a while since you and I have sat here at the podcast studio tables.
A long time. I'm a little nervous, a little jittery about what's going on. You know, behind a mic. You know, it's. But you'll make me feel very comfortable, I'm sure.
It's like riding a bike.
There
right?
you go. There you go. Can't wait.
Things that we do every day. We just talk.
And I've got my helmet on, so we're ready to go.
There you go. So you're in compliance. You gotta love that. So today we've got special guest, Greg, Richard Chapman. Richard, we usually talk to him regarding the Kern Economic Development Corporation, KEDC.
That's right.
Today, Richard, welcome. We're now talking to you regarding the other entity that you direct, and that is the Kern Economic Development Foundation.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me on up the mountain. Excited about talk about the program, especially KIC today.
Yeah. And then Jennifer Van Alstine is here today. Jennifer, welcome.
Thank you.
And here we have our special intern, Priscilla Calderon. Priscilla, welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so we've got a mix. Now we've got to tie it all in. Let's throw it to Richard. Let's talk about the difference between the Kern EDC and the KEDF, the difference between the corporation and the foundation.
Yes, so Kern EDC, we're very honored to have Greg Garrett on our board. That organization started in 1988, and it is focused on job creation, capital investment, tax revenue. So the lifeblood of Kern EDC are the companies that want to call Kern County home, or potentially call Kern County home, or existing entities that want to grow here. So that litmus tests are those basically cap investment, job creation, and tax revenue. KEDF, which started in 2007, is about workforce development. Now, you could say those two are interchangeable, economic development, workforce development. The beauty of KEDF is that the metrics are about improving, more qualitative, improving the workforce development, that talent pipeline, and making sure that students like Priscilla stay in our county, talent retention and attraction. And my belief is every organization should have at least 3 ongoing programs. So KEDF has 3 programs, which are, we're going to talk about today, Kern Intern Connections. Also, we have the Career and STEM Expo in partnership with Kern High School District, like KIC. And then finally, Women in STEM. So you can see all 3 of those programs tie into improving that talent pipeline in Kern County.
And because we're going to be talking about the intern program specifically, Priscilla is our intern for the city of Tehachapi, a part of the program, so we're excited. But also, Jennifer, you know, with what you do with Adaptive Networks, you've been on the board of the KEDF in the past, but you've played a role in also helping develop these young minds and people that are just getting their feet wet in professionally.
Yeah. So I served on the KEDF board for 6 years and was excited to see just all of the work that the foundation is doing in workforce development. And I was able to be a part of the founding of the KIC program, the Kern Intern Connection program. And it started through a grant through Bank of America. And it really allowed KEDF to be the connector between the students in the programs at the CTEC through the Kern High School District and then the employers, which I represent. So I am the COO of Adaptive Networks. We are a local IT managed service provider. Not just a managed service provider, though. We do a lot of custom networks and automations, custom automations, and AI. So it's been nice, like that partnership. You know, we work directly with the KEDF and the CTEC program. So we've really enjoyed it. We're now on, I think, our third round of interns through this program.
I was going to say, how long has the program been in existence? And you formed it, did you say 6 years ago is when it?
2023. And 2023. And as Jennifer mentioned, B of A, tremendous partner, as well as Chevron. We want to shout out to PG&E, Tri-Counties, and Banco Sierra. It's all that funding is corporate funding to pay, as we'll talk about today. These are paid internships. Priscilla is getting paid, but also offering transportation stipends to students like Priscilla that travel more than 25 miles, right, each way to come and work in Tehachapi. It's critical that these students have a paid internship, but also have the supplement with transportation stipend.
And I think Chevron Corporation
Yes.
offers the fuel for Priscilla and others to travel to their place of employment.
Right. The gas card with Chevron providing, especially the first couple of years of that support. And now it's just combined corporate sponsorships for the transportation.
Well, I can tell you, I was a little hesitant. Key came to me with this internship program. And, over the years, I'm going 21 years now with the city of Tehachapi, and we've had, college students and others that have contacted us and, hey, I want to intern, and this and that. And, my first reaction is, I don't want to babysit, right? We've got work to do. But I tell you what, this program has opened my eyes to the realization that you vet them, I'm sure, the individuals, recent high school graduates or college. And what we have achieved with Priscilla has completely changed my view of internships because it's appropriate. Priscilla is doing a great job at the city of Tehachapi. She's learning, but also she's part of Key's team. And it's a key part of Key's team, right? And it's just working out really, really well. So we plan on continuing this relationship.
Well, and that's what I want to say, that students like Priscilla have a proven track record. So she's had over 500 hours of training at Career Tech Ed Center, or ROC. She's had public speaking courses, soft skill training, internships, albeit for class credit. Now she's getting paid. So teachers recommend students like Priscilla. And remember, teachers at CTech and ROC are from industry. And we have two, right? We have two, Wasco and the city of Tehachapi. We're excited to branch it out. And the key is that these are STEM students in 5 basic programs. Priscilla is with the digital media and marketing design. We have IT students. We have welding, robotics, construction. And so that's we focus on these 5 or 6 programs. So there are 38 at the school, but we focus on the 5 to 6 that we believe that employers, at least our connections, require and desire.
So, Priscilla, let's bring you into the conversation because you are the spotlight gets to shine on you.
The star of the show.
Now, you completed the CTE program for the digital marketing and media.
Yeah.
And then the opportunity presented itself. As a matter of fact, I think we had a Zoom interview with you.
Oh, yeah.
And you hadn't even graduated high school yet.
No, I had not at the time. I remember on the day I was graduating, I got a call from you. What was it? I think you were offering the job?
Yeah, the internship to you, yeah.
Yeah, the internship.
That's a great graduation present, huh?
Yeah.
So let's talk about your experience through the CTE program and what that meant and what it exposed you to for the skill set that you're developing.
So throughout the program, initially when I first went in there, I knew nothing about digital marketing or these type of softwares. I wasn't really like computer person, but through the program, I've learned the Adobe softwares. We primarily focused on Illustrator and Photoshop, and a lot of social media. We had a specific course dedicated to each social media platform and the demographic that lives on there. So we learned primarily a lot of social media things. And we also got a simulation internship. So it was basically providing marketing to this sort of fake situation and trying to get revenue. But on top of that, I also had an actual internship at Capital Dental where I would just create the social media posts for them. And it was honestly like such a good experience, and I've learned a lot.
Okay.
And I know, so Key and Priscilla at the city of Tehachapi, you're providing some of the graphics
Oh, yeah.
for lots of our social media platforms because we are, a news organization, quite frankly, as you say, Key. Many times over, who we are, what we're doing, why we're doing it, where we're doing it. And so we're communicating with our citizens. And it's important because graphics can be too little, too much, too heavy with words, so on and so forth. But you're doing a spectacular job with that.
Thank you.
Well, and I should mention at currentintern.com, our logo was actually a result of a competition of DMMD students. So it was a 16 to 17-year-old girls, a team, produced our logo and the term kickstarting careers. I mean, that would take me years to come up with. So they offer that free of charge to any organization in the region.
When I was going over Priscilla's resume, when she was talking about some of the software and things, it was everything that we use. So what she got exposed to in the program was real world. And I know that sometimes there's theory and there's book learning, but it was real world. You talk about career, these are people that are in those career fields that are teaching. it showed because her skill set that was offered prior to the interview was like, we use that, we use that, we use that, we use that. And then getting a chance to talk to Priscilla about it furthered that she was very comfortable using the software. So it was very easy. It wasn't like we were going to be teaching her. It's like, oh, okay, she's coming in, she's going to do some graphic design, but now we have to teach her the graphic design software. It was there. So that was great. So the program showed that if we were able to marry together our needs and what we look for and what her skill set was. So what a great compliment to the program. What's your experience been here? You've been here 4 or 5 weeks so far. We started you July 1st. We're at the end of July. Community engagement and communications is our department. Not all just digital media.
Yes.
It kind of opened your eyes to the rest of marketing, I'm kind of going to guess.
So far, it's been really great. It's honestly exposed me to a lot more community outreach, getting to know more people and kind of building a relationship, which is something that I wasn't that exposed to. But now I'm getting exposed to it more, and it's been great. Yeah.
It kind of opens your mind to how to communicate when you start to deal with people, having real conversations with people across the table or at the farmer's market.
Yeah.
And then it kind of helps you understand when to reach that demographic that you see. I think it gives you another exposure.
Yeah, why did we launch this program? Well, basically the genesis was on studies that we had analyzed where the number one attribute that employers are looking for from a student is did they have a paid internship? More than GPA, more than extracurricular activities. And then we saw the numbers like on average 70% of these students after a paid internship are offered a full or part-time jobs. Nothing like that is out there. And maybe on another show, which I love to go around the table and say, what was your first internship, Key or Greg or Jennifer? And did that lead you in a certain direction? Or maybe you said, hey, I want to go into a totally different
push
career.
you away. Like, I don't want to do that. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. I mean, I can look back. It made me think, before you even brought it up, about going back into the early parts while in college, having those internships. They weren't paid internships back at my time. You put in the sweat equity yourself, and we've evolved. But it was instrumental in me picking the direction I wanted to go. I got, as Greg mentioned, the things that you liked, you didn't like. You can kind of steer yourself, and you got exposed to things that you didn't even think about, because you've been in a classroom setting, and now you're getting real-world exposure. It was a big deal. My internships, I think, helped direct me where I wanted to go.
I would have loved the opportunity when I was in high school. I was a product of the Kern High School District as well. And I didn't even know, I was the first one in my family to go to college. So I didn't even know what types of careers were out there. I would have loved the exposure and the experience. Did do an internship when I was in college. It was in Washington, D.C., unpaid. So I had to take out loans or whatever to cover my cost of living and out there. And while I loved it and I gained a tremendous amount of experience from it, would have been 10 times better if I got paid for it.
And so the paid internships, Richard, it's the money's coming from the sponsors, right? Is
Yes.
that the funding source?
Yes.
The aforementioned sponsors, but many others, I'm sure, also.
Yeah, the sponsors. And so if we pay basically the test, if under 10 employees, you're eligible for full reimbursement, and more than 10 employees, partial. Well, as we talked about the transportation stipend. But yeah, recent studies have shown that paid internships, kind of the secret sauce is paid internships, unpaid internships are the same as no internship. In terms of, think about if you have someone on staff and they're getting paid, there seems to be a certain obligation on behalf of the employer and the student to provide oversight and direction. And so that's what we see versus an unpaid intern. You might say, oh, can you file those papers and then talk to them every couple hours? I'm sure that you engaged Priscilla from day one, it seems like.
Yeah, it seems like you're unpaid is just a volunteer.
Right.
And
That's another
instead
way.
of showing up at 7, you show up at 8:30 or just whatever. And so Priscilla is here precisely.
Yep.
The agreed upon times and does the work and actually is very creative. So it works out well.
She gets here early. Every day she's here early.
Yeah.
And that's one of those are the things that as the boss you kind of pay attention to. Do they take it serious? Well, Priscilla does. She's here early every day. And she's got an hour or 45 minutes to an hour commute.
Wow.
So the commitment that she's showing is that she's taking this very seriously. This is something that she wants to do in a field that she aspires to be in long term. And I have not even mentioned that to you, but I pay attention to, who's in the parking lot, who beats me in the door,
Well, where do you live in Tehachapi, though?
I live in Tehachapi, so I've got a 15-minute commute. But I could use a gas card if you've got
Well,
one.
well, think about it. We have an intern National Cement over in Fraser Park area. We have students that for several years we've worked at National Cement. They're traveling almost 5,000 miles over 8 weeks.
Wow.
So that's why those gas cards are so important.
So you mentioned National Cement. What are those criteria? If you were a business owner listening to this podcast, which it's worldwide, so we're going to get a lot of people listening, just so you know, Richard. But what's the criteria? How would you get in contact with the foundation?
Yes.
What are the rules associated, at a 10,000 foot level?
Right. And so the other thing is working with the high school district, kudos to Brian Miller, the principal, but we want to make it clear that we have STEM employers, but we have you're a public entity. The key is to have STEM interns for you because we know you have STEM jobs. You're not considered a high-tech company, although you have high-tech
Wait,
positions.
hold on.
Well, you're high-tech. I should say Tehachapi Unsolicited you set the bar very high. Priscilla, they act like a company. They move. Their social media is unlike any that I've seen. So, but yeah, the key is to have these employees that have STEM background to work with various Kern County companies. The first iteration was with the Manufacturing Alliance of Kern, which we oversee, so mainly manufacturers. But as we move into the year 2 and 3, we have interest for jurisdictions and the like. And so we said, great, we have these 5 programs that we highlight, and here are resumes for maybe you submit the job description, go on site, and we just ask that you be in a Kern County business, have license to do business. There is an MOU because you will be their employer, not KEDF. And then basically it's an 8-week journey and exploration for both the company, organization, and the student. I will add we've won last year an International Economic Development Council Award and a state CALED, the California Association of Local Economic Development. So we're really, really proud, much like your podcast has been recognized nationally, internationally, that this program has been best practice.
So I'm going to issue a challenge to Tehachapi Unified School District right here, right now, Key, because if Kern High School District can do this with working with the foundation,
Yes.
why can't TUSD do the
Yes.
same thing?
This can be replicated, and our goal is to continue to explore relationships beyond KHSD. We've talked to various jurisdictions and districts around the county.
At the city, we don't design and build widgets.
Right.
We provide a service. What does that service mean? Well, we have engineers on staff. We have inspectors on staff. We, of course, are talking about communications, but we have administration. We have finance, all of those elements of a private company. And, we're always looking for talent. And vetting, I think, was the key for me as the city manager, right? I mentioned babysitting. I don't mean to say babysitting in a flippant way, but certainly we've got real work to do. And if you can vet someone to the level that, it's intriguing to us, and it's worked out well, and we're going to continue this partnership. But I'd like the locals to start thinking about that too. Key and I actually have talked about this many times in the past, how we could engage our school district with what we do and how we do it, because it's so important. And I'm thinking also about training, training with city employees. We invest a lot of time and money in our police department, in our public works department, in all of our departments, and we send people to training. Now, that's time and money, but there is a return. And, when we started doing this in the beginning, there was a little hesitation like, oh, well, we're going to train these people, they're going to leave,
Right.
they're going to bail.
They'll be poached.
Right? But if other corporations, public or private, do the same, and a lot of them do, and I would encourage everyone to do this to the extent you can, but we share those resources, right? Because these days people don't necessarily, like your grandpa, you start a job and you retire from the job, right? You're always looking for that growth, if you will. And so training is so important, and that's where the foundation and Priscilla and others come into play with what's going on, because it just makes a stronger community, a stronger county. The workforce matters.
Well, and you mentioned training is expensive. You lose employees after a year of training you spent time, resources, and paid interns after an 8-week, if they are offered a full time, they have a much higher after a year retention rate. I think it's about 70% than somebody you hired off the street. So that's the other thing that we see all the numbers quantitative that show that investing in an intern for 8 weeks, and maybe if there's not a job at the end of the internship, maybe down the road, right? My first internship, my parents said, "You're working in New York City, you're going to be an investment banker." I did the 2-hour commute, dressed up, decided that wasn't for me. But my first job out of college, the same organization offered me a job, another city, another capacity in research. And I was told the fact that you had the internship with this company before, we're giving you that chance. So
But
you're
you're
going to
also-
have a choice of cities, other entities, and just the prestige of working for a community like Tehachapi.
Right, and you'll be able to put your on your resume,
Yes.
and I know that we'll give you a great reference should you choose to stay in this sort of a career. But the internship also is an 8-week interview.
Yep.
Right, because when
Yeah.
you're looking at resume and you interview, so you're testing maybe, and then you do an interview of 10 to 30 minutes long. I don't know. You really don't understand that person yet. But when you're working with that person, you get to know the idiosyncrasies, the positive, the negatives, all that stuff that really matters to fit into the team.
And nice thing is Priscilla's done work that we've published. So we're at some of the things that she's done, creating graphics, infographics you've been heavily doing farmers market to write some of the different digital slides that we've been using.
Yeah.
And then currently she's working on a project for a new breast cancer awareness walk that we're putting together. And she is coming up with the concept and the artwork for this project that's coming.
So she's going to have a portfolio that will go with her.
Right. Published, not just the creative, the conceptual things that have been done in the classroom, but things that we've actually used, and you can verify by going to our social media to see it. Her name may not be on the bottom, but it is the things that she has produced.
Well, and to Greg's point, in terms of vetting, we know her professor, we know her teacher, Walt Swazo. So they're the ones recommending their students. So that they've had that interview for a couple of years, year or two. And so that's the beauty of this, is they're the ones giving a thumbs up and saying, these are the 3 students that I would recommend.
And that's I can confirm that because Olivia from your team had called when we were initially talking about maybe putting our toe in the intern water, is that I've got someone for you that I really want you to interview. I think that they would fit perfectly in. And so that was you, Priscilla. So you even before your resume got submitted
High
to
expectations.
us, the conversation came apart about we've got someone that we think might fit directly into everything that you guys do.
Olivia's great. If she says something, believe it. That's for
she's
sure.
our program manager. And so there is a lot of blood, sweat, and tears between this process. It's like a matchmaking, process. You have an employer that has interest. You have 3 students, and then, will it come to fruition, right? You have to take the step to sign an MOU. The student comes to the interview and they have to accept. Some may say, I want to go right to college, or I only want to work part-time. So kudos to her, and just, making these relationships click. And then obviously also after the internship's up, exit, right? What are the exit interviews? Where's Priscilla in a year or 2? And hopefully you'll be in Kern County, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
great.
And, and you talk about the MOU, I mean, it's not just something that we sign. We have to take that to council. We had to make a presentation to our city council for them to approve it
Yes,
and then
that's
adopt it into the budget. So there's a lot of things that on our side as a municipality that we have to do in order to make this program. So we go, okay, let's lay the groundwork. And city council, as Greg, they were supportive of being involved in this program. But a lot of it helped because KEDF paid 50% of Priscilla's salary. So there was less risk, if you will. There was some benefit that we saw, just it penciled out. Let's test it out and see how it works. And we're really happy, from my perspective, very happy that we have.
Yep, well said.
And Jennifer, you've hired how many? The intern previous year?
Yeah, so our first intern, we were really lucky to find. He came in, from the IT program at the CTEC, and he was great. And especially in IT, it's, while we do work with computers and networks, like that's all very important. But first and foremost, we're a service company. So, being able to have that customer service facing and those soft skills are really important. So Jacob came on, and like Greg said, it was, your 8-week interview, and he did fantastic. So we've hired him on. He just celebrated 1 year at Adaptive Networks, and we are hoping to maybe hire more in the very near future.
Yeah. And we've been able to extend Priscilla an additional week to go from an 8-week to a 9-week internship based on vacations and things that we have within the department. So she's graciously been able to accept and stay on another week. So we're excited about that. But that's one of those things. Had it not worked out, we would have been done at 8 weeks. But the opportunity presented itself. We had a need, and it was like she was able to say yes, and we'll get her exposed to a little bit more. But she's become an asset to the team, and not just okay, Priscilla, you're going to be shadowing Maya today. You're going to be shadowing Jessica today or Bailey. No, we give her tasks, assignments, and there's that accountability, and she is producing.
Right.
So,
and like I was telling Richard earlier, for us and our company, we prefer to take talent, from school and build them up. There are a lot of other MSPs in town, and everybody has a different, they use different platforms, and they just have a different company culture or in just various things like that. So instead of, getting somebody from one of our competitors, we really prefer to get somebody from the outside and then build them up. And so we can train them to fit our company culture and to train them with our systems. And really, it's easier to, teach somebody something new instead of unteach them old ways and then reteach them new ways. So, that's really why we love the program a lot. And so we have that control over the training.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Priscilla, so with what you've been exposed to, I know we do a lot of video. Mm-hmm. We've actually do drone work and different things. So we're not like as Greg mentioned, the goal is to present things as a news organization and have that kind of a mindset. And then we have former newsroom staff that are a part of the team. So you've kind of got exposed to things that I'm guessing that you didn't think that you would be exposed to as many different things as you have.
Yeah, the podcast. I've had an opportunity to experience it, but I just didn't as C-Tech. But now that I'm seeing it here, it's interesting.
Now, can you see that working into if your career takes you on another path, that there's the possibility that you go, a podcast might be a part of the marketing for that company?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But also, you're right down the hall from finance.
Oh, yeah.
You're across the way from engineering. And so you're getting to know those people, getting to know, what they do on a daily basis. And so whether or not you choose another path, you're able to be exposed because each department, whether it's a public or private corporation, they need to work together and they need to understand how it matters to be cohesive. And, people are not just doing this for their own deal. They're doing it because we all need to work together in the same goal, right? We need to go take that mountain, take that hill. So you've been exposed to a lot of different people with a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different education, and a lot of different goals and projects that they're working on.
What is it, 100 employee organization or 90 employee?
Yeah, plus or minus.
Yeah, so, and live up, right? The beauty of Tehachapi, right? Live, work, and play. I mean, this community basically is the essence of that mantra. So
You're always so kind to us. Do you say the same thing every time you go to every different cities? Or we are very proud of our city and our community, and we work hard for the citizens and for the visitors alike.
And I know every month you've been to the Greater Tehachapi EDC meetings. Mm-hmm. So that is a celebration, too, of community and economic development. Mm-hmm. So, you're going to go back telling a great story of working in the community, and then it seems like the city now is totally on board. So you set, right? You were the one that...
Priscilla set the bar high.
Yeah, I know.
So we'll see.
I don't know. The next employee have a lot, to live up to.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know not only, if I remember correctly, Olivia was saying that we were becoming, ourselves and Wasco became the first municipalities to join the program, and Wasco came on board this year as well. So it's got to be different having a government agency, the first time government agencies kind of dipping their toe in the water versus the private sector. Does it make it different for the foundation?
At first we thought, this program, we're thinking of manufacturers and then, other types of companies. But then suddenly, when we had the ask from various communities, we realized, great, we have an MOU. Then we realized it would require a action of council. But we had STEM employees. And you need those 5 programs, you're on board. So that was the key, that we didn't create, didn't dip into another pool of students. You wanted one of the existing, the 5 or 6 programs we had, digital and media and marketing design. So we evolved, this program evolved, and that's the beauty of it, right? We had certain so-called litmus tests, and now we've expanded it. And then who would have known that we'd be doing a podcast on Kick, and you have one of your first intern on the show. So it's wonderful that it came evolved where we are today.
Well, KEDC has been a great partner of the city of Tehachapi for a long time, and now we're great partners with KEDF.
See?
So it's really blossoming and assisting both organizations, but also individuals and companies in the future, right? Because we're training the youth. We need to make sure that the youth understand, Key, you were talking about showing up on time and dressing appropriate for interview. Hear all these cliche things, but they matter. They're life experiences and they're things that people like me look at. and evaluate and make decisions upon.
And one thing I wanted to kind of expand upon was STEM jobs in Kern County. And it's been a conversation as long as I've been involved with you, Richard, and KEDC, is our county has so many STEM jobs.
Number 4 in the country in terms of STEM jobs percentage.
And we see our corporations, our private or the private sector trying to recruit all the time. And now you're really making sure, hey, this is a need. We're going to focus on Priscilla's demographic. Let's keep them here. Let's give them the education. Let's give them opportunity, because that has an overall goal of impacting all of these other companies that make Kern County drive.
Right. And our STEM jobs don't look like Boston or Seattle, and a lot of them don't, most of them don't require a PhD. Some a college or 2 or 4, some high school. And that's the beauty. We talk about career pathways. So these STEM students where Priscilla gets 2 4-year degree or beyond, we want to make sure there's opportunities for somebody right out of high school. They've already had the training that she's had. Why not have them step into a job versus most regions of the country, they'd say you need a 2 or 4-year degree. So this is what we believe that, and the KIC intern will have kind of an additional stamp on their resume. And if you want us to work immediately, full time, she should have that opportunity.
I agree. You know, Mike Rowe, you've heard of him, right? He's pushing the trades, and I'm all about that.
Yep.
You know, every single person has a different path in life, and every single person does not need to have a PhD. We need people to do everything that society needs, and I'm all about that.
And those jobs, plumbers, lecturers, those jobs, the workforce is aging out. You could make 6 figures with a high school degree. Who are we to say you need to continue your educational journey?
Right. It's not anti-education. It's
Right.
pro whatever you're interested in, right? What's that old saying, Key? You know, don't get a job, do something you're interested in. You'll never work a day in your life.
Right.
You know, kind of a day. And that's the way I feel.
The same here.
I love my job. I love this city and this community, and it's a pleasure to be able to come to work.
Well, and that's the beauty, as you said, that our educational entities we got high schools that are interlinked with business. We have 2 and 4-year degree schools. Mm-hmm. Now they are giving the credentials that I believe industry needs. The stars are aligning. I'm very pleased what I'm seeing in terms of business, government, and education working in concert.
Opportunities, options, you know, choices.
Well, I tell you, I'm retired from one career field, and now what I do now, I love what I do, and this is what I had a passion for early on in life. I left that field, went into a whole different area. As soon as I retired, I was like, I haven't fulfilled what I really wanted to do. And now I've had this opportunity. So it really makes a difference when you go to work and you love what you do versus I'm going to work today. You know, I'm going there because I love what I do. And that's the reason why I'm still
here. So your pickleball career didn't work out.
It didn't work out, you know, as much as I tried. I appreciate that, Richard, you know, you acknowledging that. I called it a career. But it's something that if you have the passion for it and the opportunities present itself, it doesn't feel like you're going to work, you know? And I think that's what I hope that Priscilla's going to decide at the end of the internship and other opportunities. Maybe this isn't the career path that she wants, but I mean, what a great opportunity to help decide that, like you said, versus going through 6-8 years of getting college education and then getting into that field and going, what did I do for the last 8 years? Why did I do that, you know? Yeah. But so with the program, Jennifer, you say you were on the board. You helped with the foundational, getting the groundwork started some years ago, and then incorporated it into your business, and then seeing it to an intern come to become a full employee. Lose the term intern. I mean, you've been full circle with this program.
Yeah, and I love it, and I would strongly urge other companies to get involved because just getting involved in the program has allowed us to not only bring on, as I mentioned before, great staff that we're able to grow and develop. It's also allowed us to develop our other staff as well. So as we are developing these interns, and we're really trying to turn them into our tier 1 techs, which allows us to train our tier 1 techs into a tier 2, and then all the way up, to our engineer levels. And so it's allowed us rapid growth because we can only grow as far as our employees and our talent allows us to. And we've got a great team. And so we're very proud of our team. And when these interns come in, I get to tell them you're training with some really brilliant minds and engineering minds. And they don't have to have degrees necessarily, depending on the job. And then been able to connect with the CTEC program. So we have a good relationship with the instructor of the IT program. So we can go in there, do mock interviews with the students, and then get to tell them about our company, tell them about what we're doing, do demonstrations on automation or AI. And our competitors do that as well. They come in and talk about different aspects of IT. And especially for the girls, there's very few girls in the IT program. And so really trying to reach out to females. And like Richard said, one of the programs in KEDF is the Women in STEM program. And so just really trying to get more girls involved in the IT program and being able to just help facilitate a lot of those discussions. And it's been nice too from the employer standpoint. And I can go to their instructor and say, hey, maybe we could talk about, this, and this. Or I've even told him, before, there's other partnerships in the community. Like, hey, if your students for some reason need clothes for their interviews, connecting them to Dress for Success and to other different nonprofits in town and in the community, and just really trying to bridge that gap and just make sure that we all collaborate and work together, and everybody has expertise in certain fields. And then if we just can join those expertise instead of trying to reinvent the wheel all the time.
You're describing people, right? We don't, computers, desks, work trucks, but it's about people, investing in people. And, our public works department is going on 4.5 years without a lost time accident. Why is that? That's because we invest in people. That's because we care. That's because we train them. We remind each other every day about how important it is to be safe, right? And I'm kind of wandering off a little bit here, but it's about people, and it's about the team, and it's about getting the right setting, right? And this program it's the base, the germination for Priscilla and others to help out and become part of a strong team.
And I think within our journey, as I look at it, it's not just a one way where we're, assisting Priscilla in her career path, but it's also the return on that is I have strong women in my department, and it's giving them an opportunity of leadership and mentoring. That I'm there, but I've got a team that Priscilla reports to them, and they're delegating duties and things that I want to see get done that Greg's passed on, that we've talked about. So it's an opportunity that we didn't have before to put them and our current staff in positions of leadership and mentoring. So there is a two-way aspect to this. It's not just a one way to help the student. Priscilla gives us the opportunity for career advancement within our own, people, if we look at it that way.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention, one of the reasons why I think we received international, national accolades state is that we were really driven to brand, to explain the value proposition to employers. And so we developed 5 program videos that a former student of SWAZO to explain these programs, to visualize them. And, educators usually are not in the marketing realm. And we said, we're going to hire a marketing student and to visualize these 5 programs. So if you go to currentintern.com, and then a post video of a success. So we had students and employers, National Cement, Madeline, Toyota Lift, and then explaining why this program affects change. A lot of people are visual, and so this is another way that we thought it was critical, not just to, sell it based on a PowerPoint or a website, but actual video representation.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think the program's fantastic, and it just hit me as we were talking about this. I go, Priscilla, you don't know this, but you're going to be producing this episode. So as soon as we get done, you get to put it all together. So when people actually listen, this episode will have been produced by Priscilla Calderon. This is, a part of her journey of she's getting exposed to different things, but she's actually going to finish the production.
Make sure to make me look good, or sound good, I guess. Not look good, but sound good.
I can't wait to hear it when it goes live.
So with this conversation, is there anything we haven't talked about, whether it's with KEDF or the KIC program, that we should highlight that we haven't done already?
I would head on what Jennifer was talking about women in STEM, because in this county, about 16% of the workforce in STEM are women. The national average is 25%. So we really, in these STEM type training programs, we need, how do we build that? Having mentors. We have a new Level Up series actually tomorrow, having women in STEM talk about their journeys, but also having a speakers bureau where women in STEM go to schools, K-12, whatever grade, and talk about, how were they successful? Because they need to see women leaders, right, in those industries to tell the story. So that's something we're really proud of. It's kind of the third leg of the stool of our foundation.
That's great.
Jennifer, any thoughts in closing?
I would just really encourage people to get involved with the KIC program or with KEDF or KEDC. I think what Richard and his team do for our community is just fantastic, and just bringing all of the parts of our community together. And, when I started on Richard's board, I was working in oil. And, so and every time you're talking about STEM jobs in Kern County, you think oil and ag. And those will always remain pillars of our economic drivers. But there are so many others, like our industry currently, it's IT. I know Jeannie is very involved with women in STEM, and she's an architect. Yep. And so there's a lot of STEM jobs in medical. And, the medical is always a huge, ever-growing industry. So I think, just because you don't always necessarily think of your company as a STEM company, there are always STEM jobs. The city of Tehachapi, You've
got all
there's all kinds
aerospace
of,
and renewables, everything out here
Mining,
on the east side.
Yeah. There's just so much going on.
Priscilla's a young woman in STEM, right? Mm-hmm. Well, her job is a STEM job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And my job didn't even start out as a STEM job. I do policy and communications. So, learning to, part of that communications job, though, is being able to communicate STEM policy and STEM issues, So taking that engineered, complicated things and then putting it to, simple terms for policymakers or the community. Yeah. So.
And then just so you know, with your statistics, so my department has 5 people, myself included, 4 women, myself.
Sounds like my organization.
Okay. We're bringing that number up.
Yeah, when you talk about the national average of 25% being female, here 80% of my department is female. So we look at who's the talent.
Right. Of course,
it's not the gender, it's the talent.
Right.
So, and that's how we've kind of based ourselves. As it originally was just me, Greg, and then as we've grown, and I want to say that we've had thought about making sure that we talk to our entire demographic, everyone in our community, and that means we needed to have female representation and younger demographics. So I've got a young team, but it wasn't, we've got to pick this person because they fit this. It was they were the most talented people that were available that came to us and said, I want this opportunity, and we seek talent. And so Priscilla's a part of that talent pool that's available.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Okay, so anything else that we need to talk about?
It's been a great conversation. Thank you for including me.
Priscilla, what are your final thoughts?
I'm just grateful for the foundation for providing me this opportunity for the internship. And so far, I'm really liking it, and all the people that I've met, too. It's really great.
Well, you've made us proud, and, you have some with Greg and Key. You passed their test, so kudos.
All right. Well, with that being said, we're going to come to conclusion. I'm going to turn things over to Priscilla in a second to do the final production. But we appreciate the time that you guys have spent from Bakersfield up to here to join us in Tehachapi. And we just appreciate the time the listener spends with us. So hopefully this has been kind of a mind opener for different people that own business, entrepreneurs. Whether you're in the private or public sector, there's opportunity for this program to get incorporated in what you do and give some of this young talent an opportunity to get exposed to different STEM jobs and grow, and hopefully they'll continue to keep their careers growing right here in Kern County. So
thank you for having us. And you gave me an excuse to stop by your bakeries while we're up here.
Which one?
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Yeah. All right, folks, if you got any questions based on today's conversation, send us an email, media@TehachapiCityHall.com. We appreciate the time you spend with us, and we'll catch you again soon right here on Tehachapod. You've been listening to Tehachapod. If you have a question, a thought, or a suggestion, email media@TehachapiCityHall.com. We'll catch you again soon right here on Tehachapod.